On his way home, Kinjirou is drugged by Subaru with a drink made by Kanade, and he later finds himself in a hot springs resort, where Kanade explains that she has run away from the mansion because her parents decided to travel abroad for the summer holidays. It is also mentioned that Kanade told the innkeeper that she was eloping with Kinjirou as her cover story, though Kinjirou is already aware that their ulterior motive was to help him cure his gynophobia while at the beach. When Kinjirou goes to the beach cafe to buy a drink, he's surprised to see Kureha, Masamune, and Nakuru all working there, but that's because they were chased away from their camp by a shark. Subaru and Kanade arrive near the cafe, prompting Kinjirou to have Subaru put on glasses and Kanade to introduce her as Subaru's cousin, named Punuru, in order to protect her identity. Masamune grills Kinjirou for spending time alone with Kanade, who claims that she and Kinjirou are eloping. Masamune disbelieves such a thing because she trusts Kinjirou as her friend, but she also unveils that she cooked a meat and potato stew for him at her house and clung onto him while wearing a bikini on the previous day. Subaru overhears this and runs off upset, but as Kinjirou catches up to her, he clarifies that Masamune cooked for him as a favor for the fake date and tried an intimate approach to cure his gynophobia, though Subaru punches him in the stomach for exaggerating the details. As Kanade offers for all the girls to stay at the resort with her, Nagara shows up with the intention of taking Subaru and Kanade back to the mansion. That is until the two coerce him into letting them stay by threatening to call the police for potentially kidnapping Punuru. Kinjirou then notices Subaru looking off somewhere with a sad expression on her face. After having trouble sleeping due to the sight of the girls around him, he goes into the men's bath to calm himself, but Subaru is there as well, since she's protecting her female identity from being discovered. Subaru is forced to hide behind Kinjirou when Nagara also enters the men's bath. However, he leaves after he's convinced that Kinjirou considers Subaru only as a friend. Suddenly, he charges at Kinjirou after deducing that Subaru is in the men's bath when he found women's undies in the men's dressing room, but Subaru intercepts Nagara and knocks him out. As she accidentally exposes herself, she becomes embarrassed and knocks him out as well. The next day, Kinjirou and the girls, in which Subaru pretends to be Punuru again, go to beach to have fun and then head to the summer festival. Later, Subaru disappears at the festival, so Kinjirou is directed to the cemetery, where he finds Subaru at her mother's grave. He embraces her, who reminisces about her mother always worrying about her being able to make any friends during her childhood, so he asks her to formally introduce him to her mom. The following day, a paintball tournament takes place in which the winner gets a kiss from Subaru as Punuru, who won a previous beauty pageant. Nakuru defeats Masamune and Kureha after drinking a soda, which gives her a really sussy ability. Kanade, after using a pair of glasses to lure Nakuru away and then knocking Kinjirou out, is deemed the winner. Kinjirou wakes up to Subaru, and the two watch the fireworks together at the end of the festival. As summer vacation comes to a close, Kinjirou anticipates a crazy semester ahead of him, though he's now used to his everyday life being crazy. He also plans to remain friends with Subaru, but she wants something more than that. The next day, Kinjirou finds himself working part-time at a maid cafe to repay Masamune for the loan of her summer homework. After the manager teases him of being Masamune's boyfriend, he recalls Subaru telling him to ignore what she said about wanting to be more than just being friends. Meanwhile, Kanade comes to see Kinjirou leaving Subaru behind, but Masamune is not pleased to see Kanade at all. To make matters more complicated, Kureha and Nakuru also show up to help out at the maid cafe. Later, Subaru frantically searches for Kanade only to be mistaken as a waitress at a butler cafe, having to work there part-time. Kinjirou then faints after he trips and grabs onto Masamune, but when the manager checks up on him after he wakes up, Kanade stirs up drama by saying that Kinjirou has a kink for maid outfits. She then pressures Masamune into lifting up her skirt to show her garter belt to test that theory. Fortunately, Subaru finally finds Kanade to take her back to the mansion, but Kinjirou catches up to Subaru, who clarifies that she wants nothing more than to be his best friend. When he returns to the maid cafe, Masamune invites him to continue working there and offers to let him copy her school notes at any time. He also discovers the special ringtone that Masamune has set for his contact number on her cell phone when she accidentally dropped it, but he runs away from her when she finds out about this. Afterwards, Kureha celebrates her 16th birthday with Nakuru and Masamune at Masamune's house, which is soon noted to be haunted, much to Kureha's worry. However, Kureha is relieved when she receives a pair of glasses from Nakuru and a poster of Subaru from Masamune. The girls then act out a romantic skit of a spoof involving Kinjirou and Subaru, which is too much for Masamune to handle. Later on, the three go to the maid cafe, where they meet up with Subaru and Kanade there. Kureha is happy when she's given a birthday cake and the waitresses sing her a birthday song. She then recalls Kinjirou giving her a brown teddy bear for her 8th birthday. Shortly after, she plays an originally developed arcade video game with Kanade, somehow with Kinjirou and Kureha being the playable characters. While Subaru and Kanade take her home, Kureha recalls that Kinjirou came to the playground to take her home for her 10th birthday after a spat she had with her mother. He also played video games with her all day on her 12th birthday, then he got her ice cream and a dairy ranch on her 13th birthday, while he burned firecrackers with her in the backyard on her 14th birthday. However, Kureha was frustrated when Kinjirou disregarded her 15th birthday for a concert event that took place all day. Realizing that Kinjirou has been there for her during her entire childhood, Kureha strives to be more independent. When she returns home, she's surprised that he remembered her 16th birthday, giving her a white teddy bear as a present to make up for last year's mistake. Fast forward to the start of a new semester where Subaru still has Kinjirou in her mind. While walking to school together, Kinjirou and Subaru almost get ran over by Masamune with her scooter. During lunchtime, Kanade brings a delicious meal to share with Kinjirou and Subaru. But due to the food containing white wine, Subaru becomes slightly drunk and Kinjirou is dismayed when she rubs some sauce on his neck to have Subaru lick it off. After he takes Subaru to the infirmary, he later takes Kanade to the infirmary as well, when she begins to experience an episode of hiccups. These hiccups are her constant weakness because it makes her so cute, in which they have caused major chaos in the mansion in the past. Kanade then tells Subaru to get the tools needed for the hiccup treatment, giving Kanade the chance to bait Kinjirou, but he pushes his way out and bumps into Subaru. After Kanade seemingly has stopped hiccuping, the three walk down the hallway until Kanade suddenly falls down a flight of stairs and injures her ankle. At the hospital, Subaru blames herself for not being able to prevent Kanade from falling. But Nagar shows up to relieve Subaru of her duties as a butler. However, Kanade insists that Subaru must remain as her butler. Subaru then flees with guilt, and Kinjirou follows her to an overpass. Later, Subaru continues to run away after thanking Kinjirou with a kiss, leaving Kinjirou to be passed out with a nosebleed. He's then woken up by Masamune on the overpass, where she gives him a ride to the Inaba Hot Spring Resort after he remembers that's where Subaru watched the fireworks during the summer vacation. As Kinjirou and Subaru spend the night there, she wonders if Kinjirou would do more than just kiss. However, he takes it the wrong way, assuming she was referring to making love, when instead she just wanted to sleep closer to him. The next morning, Kanade picks the two up and takes them to their homes. Later, when Kinjirou arrives at school and asks Kanade where Subaru is, he is shocked when Kanade tells him that she is transferred to a different school. However, Subaru shows up to the school as a transfer student dressed as Punuru, while Kinjirou has to walk Kanade to class. During lunchtime, Subaru admits that she enjoys being a butler more than being a normal girl. With that in mind, Kinjirou riskily enlists the help of the S4 to get petitions signed so that Subaru can become a butler again. The next day, she reprises her duties as a butler for Kanade, in which Kanade makes a cover story about Punuru transferring to another school again. Later that night, Subaru summons Kinjirou to the park, where she thanks him by forcefully planting a kiss on him. He then subsequently gets a nosebleed and passes out again, later reflecting on how long their adventures as an indecisive butler and a chicken will last. The next day, Kinjirou wonders why there's a sussy magazine mixed in his secret stash located under his bed. Suddenly, Nakuru shows up at his doorstep unannounced, letting it slip that it was her on his bed on the previous night. A flashback then occurs where Subaru notices a camera flash from the top of a building adjacent to the mansion while she's taking a bath, and after rushing over there in hopes of protecting her identity, she discovers that Nakuru is the photographer. At the Butler Cafe, Nakuru shows her that the photo came out too foggy to decipher, and that she needed one to be sold in order to help publish her sussy novels. Kanade then shows up and donates some photos of Subaru in her butler suit for Nakuru to sell. Later at Kinjirou's house, Nakuru has Kureha and Masamune put together copies of her sussy novels. As such, Nakuru compensates Kureha with some photos of Subaru, so Kureha allows Nakuru and Masamune inside Kinjirou's room, which is when Nakuru placed the sussy magazine in the stash of the other magazines. Subaru and Kanade later come by and Subaru efficiently staples the novels. Nakuru then hesitates when she asks Subaru a question left untold. Later, Kureha and Masamune go undercover and follow Nakuru to various places, including a book fair where she sold out all of her yaoi novels, and they take notice that she was viewing romance novels. After they realize that Nakuru may be in love, their cover is blown, but Nakuru still hesitates to tell him. As the flashback ends, Nakuru asks Kinjirou out on a date to a boardwalk, where she eventually admits to having a complex with her chest, since she turned down a confession from a boy in the past, assuming that to be the reason. He unwillingly agrees to help her, but this causes Nakuru to develop feelings for Kinjirou.